We've got another great story for today in the insightful tales. Hold on to your car keys for dear life as we delve into a story dealing with Emily's and car thefts. Just another day in the wild ride called life. Up first, when your parents think raising you is a financial investment. My parents took and sold my car and won't tell me to whom. What's the best step to take from now? First, some background. I no longer get along with either of my parents. I won't delve more into it than it's not reconcilable because of serious abuse. I bought a car when I was 16 and still living with them, and they believe that makes it theirs. The title and everything was originally in my mother's name, but it was transferred into my name for 3 years now. It is mine and only my car. When the family split, my parents tried to call in what they called debts of a minor, which they tried to convince me was a legal term, saying if I took my support away from them, then they had the right to recall all money involved in raising me. I went away for 2 weeks in September and left my car with my brother, who I still get along well with. He is still in contact with my parents. They visited him a couple of times while I was away, and on the last visit, they stole the keys to the car from him and drove off with it. My brother told me immediately, and I said I'd deal with it when I got back. It happened a few days before I was to get back. I went to my parents to get my car, and they said they sold it. The $8,000 they sold it for was to go towards debts of a minor, and they informed me I now have only about $80,000 to go before I've paid them off. I called the police immediately to report it stolen, and they seemed to prefer to listen to my parents who said the title was in their name. I have the title in my name, however. Advice from the police was to work it out between ourselves. Useless. So where I'm stuck now is I have no car, no keys to it. It's out there somewhere, and my parents refuse to tell me where it is. It's my car, and I can prove it. Who do I prove it to have it retrieved? Are the police right, and that I have to beg the people who took my car, my parents, to give it back? Is this a job for a lawyer or court, or escalating it with the police? I've never had to deal with the legal system before. Update. I went to the station in person and got a lot further with different officers who asked what happened before with the other officer, and rolled their eyes when I said his name. I have my brother fully on my side, and we both made statements. I've contacted my insurance. Now, let's check in with the community to find some relevant comments. Debts of a minor. You realize you have no obligation if you're older than 18 to financially pay them back, right? They can kick you out and cut off any monetary support they have for you, but you don't have to pay your parents back for raising you. Also, if they sold the car in your name and the title was in your name, go to the police station with that and prove that it's been stolen. Bring the proof. Also, if you do not have the title and it's in your name, you can obtain a duplicate via this website. Link provided. Alex replies, when I first left home, I realized very quickly that debts of a minor isn't a thing. I owe them nothing. The title is definitely in my name. I'll try again with the police with documentation at the station. A deleted user said, don't call the police station again. Go down there with the title and registration showing that the car belongs to you and report it stolen. I'm not entirely sure you have to mention that your parents stole it and sold it. The person who bought it without a title will be so and need to recoup their costs from your parents after this all comes to light. There's a chance your parents will be charged. Alex replies, except for the buyer, that would be the best possible outcome. Thank you for the comment. Is there any possibility of any fallout on me from the buyer? Say if it was proven I was careless with the keys, and that led to the whole problem? Hope it's not a stupid question. I'm not afraid to admit I'm really ignorant of the law and also paranoid about my parents and their actions. Wow, I'm sorry, Alex. It sounds like your parents missed the memo that the debts of a minor statute were filed under fairy tales in the legal archives. Maybe they're hoping you'd chip in for all those diapers and baby food. But last time I checked, parenting isn't a business venture. Selling your car out from under you, that's some next-level villainy. Parents are meant to be the guardians of our childhood, the protectors of our dreams. It's a betrayal of the highest order when those who are supposed to nurture us decide to sabotage instead. Parents aren't supposed to steal their children's belongings, whether it's a toy, a car, or even their sense of security. They're not supposed to sell off pieces of their child's future to settle imaginary debts or satisfy their selfish desires. Update 16 days later. Thanks for the replies. When I originally posted, all I needed was a more with it police officer. I went in person with all the documentation proving that my car was my vehicle, and with my brother, and stated clearly that my car had been stolen and sold, and we both knew who did it. The officer I dealt with this time treated everything seriously and listened to both of us. I had my car back within 2 days. My parents had taken it and hadn't sold it like they claimed, but were renting it to someone they knew. The car was retrieved from the renter's house. I hadn't yet claimed it, so it was returned to me the day after retrieval. My mother has been charged, and I've also been questioned about my parents' drug use. I'm over the moon that what they did trying to rip me off has shown a light on more of their behavior. I'm still trying to gain clarity with my insurer about possible internal damage to the engine or transmission and having that thoroughly checked out, but that's beside the point. As a bonus, this was the last straw from my brother. He'd been still living under our parents' thumb, and this gave him enough reason to also cut them off and commit to acting against them. I have my car back and my brother back more than I did before. The fact that they got caught red-handed, priceless. But hey, at least something good came out of this mess. You got your wheels back, your brother got his backbone back, and your parents, well, they got a one-way ticket to the slammer. How about karma serving up some cold hard justice? What do you make of this? Do you have any horror stories like this? Share them with us in the comments below. Up next, this guy's ego is as big as the dent he left in Alex's bumper. Other people's children. This happened yesterday but is carried over into today. My son is learning to drive, so sometimes I'll finish work early and pick him up so he can drive home. Yesterday the parking lot was fuller than usual, and this minivan kept driving around looking for a spot. They finally decided to squeeze between me and the curb, adding up barely 2 inches from my passenger side mirror. Their child comes out, and this guy starts gesturing at me because there's no way anyone is getting in either of their cars from the passenger side. He rolls the windows down and motions for me to do the same. The moment I do, he begins berating me loudly and very aggressively, saying I should move from my spot so his kid can get in his car. Keep in mind, I'm in a parking spot in a small car. He is in this big minivan squeezed into this non-space. I just hold my window back up and ignore him. Then I feel a thump and look at my rearview mirror to see him walking back to his car. It legit felt like someone ran into me lightly. I didn't dare get out as I was already a bit intimidated, and the dude was a bully. After screaming at me to move for the past 5 minutes through a closed window, the guy pulls ahead, his kid gets in, and they leave. I get out of my car and go around to the back and see a massive crack in the bumper of my brand new car, right in the center of what looks like a boot print. This is my first new car ever, barely a month into my 2-year lease, and this happens. Get a quote of nearly $4,000 to fix the bumper as it needs to be replaced. It was kicked so hard that it broke some clips that held it on too, as this was the recommendation of the dealership as it was very loose. Unfortunately, as a lease car, this has to be fixed ASAP according to my contract. Go back to the school in the hopes that I can get some identifying info on the guy to file a report and recoup the cost through their insurance. We can see the front of the van, but not the back where the license plate is because of where he is parked, ironically blocked from my view by my car. Fast forward to today, I get to work, and my boss calls me into her office. There was a complaint made yesterday about how rude I was, and that I was most likely driving under the influence. My boss is awesome. She knows full well there's no way I would do any of that, so she just gives me a heads up and that's it. It was almost 10 a.m., and I just answered a call. It was him asking if disciplinary action had been taken yet. I interconnected my line to my boss's, so I had a witness, and the convo was interesting. He had no idea it was me, and I was asking for details from the encounter. He gives them, not realizing I filed the police report the day before. That wasn't likely to go anywhere as I had no license plate number or name, so I just got emailed the guy's name, address, make, model, and year of the vehicle and license plate number. I just got off the phone with the police. I don't think he'll be happy to see them on his doorstep. Maybe he should have just been happy with vandalism instead of also trying to get me fired. Entitled people suck. Alex has an update. He has been officially identified by police. Happy dance. After the police watched the video from the school, the potential charges are vandalism, harassment, slander, which is unlikely to stick as it has affected my reputation, I'm told. Mischief, uttering threats, child endangerment, I had an 88-year-old in my car at the time. I'll also be trying to obtain a restraining order given the harassment. I'm told not all charges may stick, but they are going to push the vandalism and harassment charges. We shall see. Police here are infamous for not doing their jobs. I'll update you when I get one. Edit. Apologies for formatting. Updating from the police station over mobile. Someone in the community had a comment. So not just vandalism, but harassment and slander. The guy just likes to pad his resume with all sorts of things, doesn't he? Vandalism. Check. Harassment. Check. Slander. Oh, why not throw that in for good measure, right? I mean, if you're going to be a villain, you might as well go for the full buffet of criminal charges. It's like this guy took a crash course in how to be the worst human ever and aced every lesson. I can just imagine a resume now. Expert in property damage, master of verbal assaults, and connoisseur of false accusations. But wait, there's more. Child endangerment. Oh, he's going for the gold in the terrible person Olympics, isn't he? I mean, who needs morals when you can collect criminal charges like Pokemon cards? And let's not forget his attempt at getting you fired. Talk about adding insult to injury. Like, hey, I already wrecked your car. I might as well try to wreck your life too, right? Well, I hope this guy enjoys his date with Karma. She's got a special place reserved just for him, right next to the world's biggest jerk trophy. Do you have a similar story? Let us know in the comments. And lastly, nothing revs up Alex's day like a good old-fashioned confrontation with an entitled neighbor, screamed at for building a special needs school. Here's a story from last season I thought might belong here. So I work in construction. I drive a transfer truck super solo for a paving company. On this day, we were hauling in foundation rock to build a parking lot bus stop for a new school. This is a project we were all excited to be working on. We were rebuilding a special needs school tucked away in a neighborhood that had been previously falling and disrepair. A big, beautiful new school with all the new technology and amenities money could buy. Super proud of it. People in this neighborhood were so happy. They would bring us out water, cookies, and coffee. Needless to say, every time I was put on this job, I was happy about it. On this day, I was in a super solo hauling 24 tons of rock per trip. Supers have this long, strong arm that comes down off the back to stabilize the truck and spread the weight out. Before getting inside the construction zone, that arm needs to be picked up, trails and raise up high before folded up behind the box. Being that this school is tucked back in a tiny neighborhood with low-hanging power lines everywhere, finding a spot to raise it without causing a ton of damage is a bit tricky. Lucky for me, I found a spot with no power lines for about 20 feet at the beginning of the street end. It's about 8:30 a.m. Most neighborhoods have noise rules for construction. No trucks before 8 and so on that everyone agreed on. I roll into the cherry spot I found and start to raise my strong arm, revving the engine a little. Takes me all of 12 to 15 seconds to raise the arm and my tag axles and be gone. I drive with my window open for air, and right about the moment I'm getting ready to release my brakes and go, I hear screaming. I thought someone was hurt, so I jumped out and ran around the truck to see her. Bleach blonde hair in a knot bun, stretchy workout pants, Nike hoodie, kids' canvas shoes, the whole nine. I'm in trouble. Don't park in front of my house, you piece of crap. Go somewhere else. Whoa, easy. What's the matter? You don't have to scream, ma'am. Don't park here. You wake me up every gosh darn morning. You're blocking my driveway. I can't get out. We aren't even going to use that effing school. You're wasting money. Easy. You don't have to yell. We can talk. Sister, don't park here. You're blocking my driveway. I can't get out. We're not even going to use that school. You're wasting money. All right, sister, we're done. Conversation over. Then I started walking back to my truck, and she started recording me on her phone while following me after the nasty stuff she said. Of course, I'm calling the police and your job. You're getting fired, little girl. I'm 5'0" and maybe a $1.7 soaking wet. People like to point that out when they're mad at me for some reason. Have a good day, ma'am. As I was getting back into the truck, I heard her telling her phone that I had threatened her, so that was fun. She did call my job, and my boss told her to kick rocks because it was after 8 a.m., and I happened to be friendly to a fault, so her claiming I threatened to run her over didn't go very far. While I'm ashamed to admit I can be petty at times, I will say that after that, every time I came to the job site, I parked in the same spot and revved my engine higher and louder than I needed to. Someone from the community adds, that Emily should keep her trap shut. Where I'm from, it's 7 a.m. From that time on, work is allowed till 12, and again from 1300 till 2000. You are way too friendly. I'd tell her to find someone like her to scream at, but in not so nice words. Alex replies, yeah, you're right. I'm just not very confrontational. I mean, I can give people the business, but they have to push it. Ah, the classic Emily encounter, complete with all the drama and entitlement you could ever ask for. It's like a rite of passage in the construction world, isn't it? You haven't truly lived until you've had Emily screaming at you for simply existing. But hey, props to you for keeping your cool and not letting her get under your skin too much. I mean, who needs a confrontation when you can just rev your engine a little louder and assert your dominance in the most passive-aggressive way possible? Seriously, who does Emily think she is trying to lecture you about your job and your life choices? Last time I checked, construction workers were doing the Lord's work, building the foundations of society, while Emily sat at home complaining about her latte being too hot. So here's to you, my friend, for being the bigger person and not stooping to Emily's level. And next time she comes around with her entitled attitude, just rev that engine a little louder and remind her who's boss. What do you think? Thank you for joining us today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click that notification bell before you leave. We'd love to hear your thoughts on today's topic, so feel free to leave a comment. See you next time in the Insightful Tales.